All right, so now let's talk about each of these different types of leukocytes. So, learning objective 13 is describe the structural and functional features of neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, and mast cells, i.e. the granulocytes. I'm not going to ask you any morphological questions or ask you to be able to identify any of these particular cells. I do want you to know their physiology and what their basic roles are in the immune system. So, we're going to go through each one. So first we have neutrophils. These are the most common leukocyte in your body. About 40 to 70% of all of your leukocytes or white blood cells are going to be neutrophils. The way they work, these are very good at phagocytosis. If you need to, go back to figure 10.6. We talked about how microbes evade by escaping phagocytosis. Almost all of your leukocytes are going to do phagocytosis. This is one of the primary ways neutrophils are going to get rid of invaders. They're also going to do things like secrete lysozyme. Remember those first line of defense chemicals? And they're also going to secrete AMPs. AMPs serve the dual role of both fighting the microbe and being recruiters of the next lines of defense. In general, if you have neutrophils on site, it's typically because of a bacterial infection. All right, next we have eosinophils. If your AMP teacher pronounced it differently, that's fine. Eosinophils, eosinophils. It's a tomato. Eosinophils are not all that common. They might comprise maybe 5% of all of the white blood cells that happen to be out there. They too will do phagocytosis in order to eliminate any kind of microbial infection. They too will secrete different enzymes and AMPs, but also they come with their own antimicrobial toxins. So we often will take an antimicrobial as a drug, but your body actually already makes a lot of these drugs. Eosinophils are going to be most prevalent when you have a parasitic infection, as well as it could be something that is released in order to combat asthma or allergies. Remember, allergies are just a response to a foreign invader. So sometimes your leukocytes get activated, not always by living things, but also sometimes by non-living things. Our third class of leukocytes, that is a granulocyte, are your basophils. Basophils are your least common. So while the neutrophils comprise 40 to 70%, basophils will comprise only 1%. Sorry about that, I had an alarm go off. This can be a very important group in order to stimulate inflammation. So these will release histamine, and this will stimulate inflammation. We'll come back to inflammation at the end of the chapter. So inflammation right now, you just need to know, is a response of the immune system in order to try to combat what's going on. These are also going to be very active if you have a parasitic infection. This is also another blood cell that can respond to allergies. Another thing of note, if you do have a high basophil count, it might also be an indication that you have a blood cancer. All right, our fourth granulocyte are the mast cells. These have a moderate number within it. As far as percentages go, just know the most popular and the least popular. Hopefully that will help keep those in check. These three will all circulate in your blood and lymph vessels. So these three are all mobile. However, mast cells, these are going to be residents. These do not travel around the body. These will reside under the skin and in those mucous membranes. So you know you have mucous membranes in your nasal cavity, in your trachea, your bronchioles, in a large portion of your digestive system. So these are going to be cells that live on site so that they can deal with infections on site. They're also a very good way of creating inflammation. So these will also release histamine in order to get inflammation started. These cells are highly phagocytic. So these cells, because they are on place, they are often the first to begin to encounter any kind of microbial infection. They need to be very good soldiers. So they will begin phagocytizing. In addition, they will produce enzymes like lysozyme and AMPs. So not only will the histamine and the inflammation begin to recruit more cells to the area, but the AMPs will also begin to create more recruiters into the area. Those are your four granulocytes.